to read a headline from yesterday. New California program for first-time home buyers will let you borrow down payment at 0% interest. So you borrow the down payment. Do you put a down payment on that? Do you know anything about this program? Because I know you're pretty into the housing market.
Yeah.
But okay, State of California launched 2 programs last month to help those interested in becoming homeowners. One of them allows first-time home buyers to borrow a down payment at 0% interest.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's
That's
ridiculous.
so risky. That's like worse than subprime.
It's really trying to incentivize people to get out there and own a home because the housing prices in California have skyrocketed so much.
Sure.
The issue also comes into play that California is losing a lot of people to other states, but they're not losing older people, they're losing young people. People who will fill out the tax-paying bracket in future generations.
Wait a second. So let's reverse this. This is not an incentive for where this money actually goes. This is an incentive for homeowners to sell their home and get a down payment and throw that loan onto a new home buyer.
Right.
Oh my God.
That's why
That's not evil, but that's a good scheme. It's really good dressing it up this way.
Yeah.
That's a way to dress it up.
It's more than a little bit messed up, but as California, from my perspective, and I don't know from your perspective as well, but perhaps, is doing a really good job of driving businesses out. It's a little bit annoying to see. It's more than a wee bit frustrating as business individuals within California. Nevertheless, the situation is such that California's measures to incentivize people to stay will oftentimes prioritize the wealth of individuals who already have a large share, who are already very well off, oftentimes property owners or business owners with a lot of land in the country.
Yeah.
Or,
let's face it, if you're in America and you own land, you're a part of the upper class.
right, that's
Even if you own like
distinction.
a 60 by 60 chunk behind that 7-Eleven that you're leasing to a network tower, you're a part of the upper class.
And this isn't to say that it's bad to own land. I would love to own
Not at all.
land. I'm in a very fortunate position.
Everybody
in that
should.
regard.
If you're responsible.
Everybody should, and everybody.
There's not a lot of responsible people out there.
But the idea of an American dream is that everybody could. And that's the part that California is trying to tap into. But in the end, this kind of a program is going to pass on massive expenses to the tax-paying bracket of the successive years.
That's
which is
important.
going to predominantly fall on people in the middle class. And it's going to split them into upper and lower classes respectively. And that wealth divide that we're going to see in California is going to aggravate the social conflicts that we're seeing already.
It might define the next decade of social activity in California.
What's your honest take on these kinds of interventions from everybody from Garcetti all the way up to the governor's office?
Like the state doing something about home buying.
Right.
I think them encouraging home ownership is great, but you have to back it up with responsibility. And you can't enforce that. It has to be curated in an individual.
Yeah.
Whether holding their feet to the fire,
Yeah.
or whether them just growing up and being having been taught responsibility through their life. It's not, responsibility is, I don't know, it's really hard to thrust upon someone. But some people can react well when responsibility thrust upon them. First time parents.
Right.
Sometimes
Yeah,
they do
literally.
great. But I think I am okay. It is cool that the state is helping this program out. But I want to go back to what I said earlier in my analysis of this program, and that it's not so much helping the first-time home buyers because they don't get any money out of this. They just get a house.
Not really at the end of the day.
But who is getting the money out of this? Who is getting the money from that down payment is either the bank or is the people selling their home. This is a reshuffling incentive because 0% says forgivable loan. There's not really that much money being moved around. There's a lot of numbers being moved around in ledgers, but there's not a lot of money moving around. Does that make sense? So it's a reshuffling of people in places. It's not a reshuffling of wealth so much.
You know who I would love to hear from on this topic?
Whom?
Somebody who works in the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Because from a federal perspective, they would give a lot of really good insight on what are the actual full list of consequences of this kind of intervention more than we could.
I think it would be good. think it would be great to pick anybody who's been a real estate investor for, more than a couple dozen years to get their perspective on this kind of program. If they've seen this kind of thing happen before, and if they just to hear what their opinions. We're young.
Yep. One thing that defines our conversations is that we walk into most rooms assuming that we know the least, because as a matter of our experience and age, generally we oftentimes know the least. We're in our 20s. We don't know that much about the world. So if you have information to add, if you have any comments or concerns, or you want to add something to the conversation, feel free to add comments down below that, and or leave a comment on the end of this video. We read every comment. And
or call me.
Or
most of you who are watching this, I think, know me or know Matt.
Yeah.
Aaron Dowd. He says he's watching. Oh. All right. Shout out to Aaron Dowd he might still be in Nopa in San Francisco. He ran the Nopa Surf Club for a while.
Very nice.
Do you have a question? Let's see the chat.
We love and appreciate every one of you, and in all seriousness, we want to hear from you guys as well. So thank you so much for your contributions, and please educate us so that we can refresh that information and back to those who watch us.
Yeah, well, I think with that we're going to take our first break, and then we're going to get into Matt's topic. But I thought this was